Hey everyone. So this is the Sorcerer's Quest. I have Noah on to discuss his spirits deck as well as just kind of get to know him and why he got into sorcery. And yeah, let's get into it. Noah, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Just been chilling.
Nice. So we did say it. We did. I did ask you when we were on the Discord call, but for the audience, how did you get into sorcery?
Um, my brother and I were just kind of looking for new games to play. We were kind of burnt out on what we've been playing, and he just stumbled onto. I don't remember exactly how he found it, but he just stumbled into like some sorcery. He saw like the art was really interested, and then he saw sedge crabs and figured it was a game he wanted to play because just the way that card works is interesting. Um, so I said I was down to try it out. We played a few games. I got hooked. I was planning on not really trying to play competitive and just playing it casual, just because card games are expensive. But
Right.
I got too hooked, so I ended up going competitive with it, and seems to have been working out.
So what was your first competitive event?
Actually, the West Virginia qualifier was my first one.
Gotcha.
Before that, I hadn't played with anyone other than my brother.
Oh, really? Yeah,
that was my first time playing. Yeah.
No online stuff or anything, just kind of chill, hanging out with the brother.
I played one game of the online sorcery league before the West Virginia qualifier, but other than that one game, it was just me and my brother.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So with that in mind, let's just jump into the deck and kind of get your thoughts and opinions on your own deck. So is this the right one? Just want to make sure before.
This is the one I used in Florida. There's another one that was in West Virginia, but the only reason they're different is because I didn't have the cards at the time in West Virginia. So
gotcha. All right, we'll just go with this one then.
My current deck, yeah.
Gotcha. So let's start with the avatar. Death Speaker, 20 health, 1 power. He's the summoner of the graveyard. We all love him. So what intrigued you about him specifically when it came to this deck?
That was actually my biggest struggle with this deck, was finding an avatar that worked well with it. I was trying Seer at first just to have something to like do other than that didn't require tapping your avatar. But it doesn't have enough power to it. I tried Sorcerer, but with this deck you really want to play a sight like every turn. So I decided on Death Speaker because you can replay those land surveyors, making you not have to ever draw sights, preferably if you get them. And then you can replay the wizards, you can replay the Grandmaster Wizard, your Ultimate Horror, any of your opponent's stuff such as violence and whatnot. So it's just a very strong effect that you can use in addition to playing a sight every turn.
Gotcha. And then Atlantean Fate, I don't know if we need to talk about it, but it's just a really good card.
That card's
is that why, besides Ghost Ship, I see Ghost Ship in here too. Those are the 2 water cards.
Yeah.
So they're just, I guess they're that good to include the water.
Exactly. It's just, well, Ghost Ship is why I made the deck initially.
Okay.
And 1 water threshold, it's not too hard to get.
Gotcha.
Atlantean Fate is just an insane card. AoE removal, turning off your opponent's sights. It can definitely change the game into your favor. So adding that 1, even though it's 2 water threshold, I didn't think was too big of a deal, because with floodplains you can usually get 2 water threshold with just 1 floodplain. Right. So yeah, it's just too good to not have if you have any water.
And then Evil Presence, you got 3 of them in here, which is the max you can have because it's an exceptional. So you really want to see this card.
Very much so, yeah. It gives all of your spirits charge, essentially, and you can summon them anywhere on the board with that.
Gotcha.
It's, yeah. I was running 2 initially, but I bumped it up to 3 just because you want to see that every game. So,
gotcha. And it gives things charge, right? The spirits charge, and with the new rules, that allows you to summon in the void for Ghost Ship, right?
Correct. Yeah. You can give your Ghost Ships charge in the void.
Gotcha. Let's talk about Ghost Ship, just since it's such a pivotal card in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
and just jump to that real quick because it is kind of, I think, the engine of the deck, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, there's multiple like kind of engines, quote unquote.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's the card that made me want to make the deck, and then it just happens to be really strong and like in addition to other strong cards. But yeah, it's as soon when it enters a site from the void, you get to summon a spirit from either graveyard. Usually, your opponents don't really play spirits. Sometimes I see headless haunts, but that's about it. So yeah, if you have a dead spirit, you're paying 6 mana, preferably with an evil presence, so up to 8.
Right.
But since they're 2 different colors, if you have a Philosopher's Stone, it's only 6. So you drop a evil presence, drop your ghost ship in the void, attack into a site, you immediately get that extra value of one of your dead spirits. And if you have the mana, you can drop evil presence before you move the ghost ship, move into the site. When it summons that spirit gets charged as well. And then you pull the evil presence back into your hand.
Dang, that's pretty good. So what I saw you do at the West Virginia qualifier was I forgot the exact play, but you discarded the ultimate horror.
Yeah.
To then use, because you wouldn't have the resources, and use the ghost ship to get the ultimate horror back, which this is like its own engine to be all by itself.
Yeah, that was actually my first deck was based on Ultimate Horror, just doing Voidwalk.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when I was making the ghost ship, I noticed that this was a spirit, and I was kind of like, geez, this is a nasty combo. But yeah, in the final game of the West Virginia qualifier, which I played against my brother, actually, he was number 2 there. Yeah, I dropped a Nimbus Djinn. I discarded Ultimate Horror to the Nimbus Djinn, and then I moved into a site with Ghost Ship, summoning the Ultimate Horror, which then summoned, I believe, a Headless Haunt and a Hound of Vondoros. I think that's what it summoned, but I can't remember exactly.
I think so. So it says summon each other dead Voidwalk minion to the nearby sites. Am I correct in saying that if your opponent also has them, that also brings back your opponent's Voidwalk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jeez. So again, Voidwalk isn't super common, but people do play Haunt and the Hounds. So sometimes you can get 1 or 2 from your opponent, but even just hitting one of your own makes that card very good value because you're paying 8 unless you summon it like how I did. You're paying 8 for a 6-drop airborne and a 6-power airborne and a 4-power card as well. Usually Hounds, preferably, which has airborne, burrowing, submerge, and Voidwalk. So it's just really good value.
So let's jump back over to the artifacts real quick. Got the 3 cores here. No, yeah, you got 3 cores here and the Philosopher's Stone. So just ramp, I'm assuming, just trying to get things out quicker. And then the threshold mechanism.
The threshold comes into play sometimes with the specifically with the Onyx core and Aquamarine core for the Ghost Ship, Atlantean Fate, and the Land Surveyors. But for the most part, it's just for ramp.
So I see the Ruby core, and then I see the Pact, and I see the Ruins. So is it just sometimes you feel like you need more card draw? Is that the feel?
There, yeah, I do have a lot of spellcasters, the 2 Grandmaster Wizards and 3 Apprentice Wizards.
Right.
So getting that 3 extra cards is really nice, especially to discard the Nimbus Djinn. But also, I have the Fire Threshold in there just so I can play my opponent's Fire cards from their discard, like Violamp.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah, Fire isn't like a necessity, but it's there for some extra support.
So did you put those in because the meta right now, at least what I've seen, is a lot of the Earth Fire, so being able to play their Violamps and play those kinds of poke cards that they do?
Yeah, that's exactly why I put it in. But at the Florida qualifier, I actually only ran into 1 Fury Road, which is weird because in West Virginia, I 6 out of 9 of my games were Fury Road.
Jeez.
So,
Wasn't your brother too? He was like a
Yeah.
version of it? Yeah.
yeah, he was Fury Road.
Dang. So, yeah. So, let's see here. And then Kythera Mechanism, just for the Headless Haunts, the Lightning Bolts, lightning
Nimbus Gen.
bolts, Nimbus Gen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really strong being able to choose what the random outcomes are.
Right.
Especially if your opponent is running Headless Haunt as well.
Yeah,
You get to
I could see
choose
that.
theirs. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So I was watching your final game on the last tournament you entered, which was
the
down in Florida.
Qualifier.
Yeah. And it was against a sorcerer version of the similar style of your deck.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because my brother actually made that deck.
Really?
Yeah.
So you know the guy that won the
Yeah,
tournament?
he's one of our friends. He actually rode there with us, and he was playing the exact deck list as my brother, who was also playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
which
And
is
so
it's kind of
what-
funny. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
like a repeat of West Virginia a little bit.
Yeah.
Playing
So
against the person I went there with in top 2.
So is there any differences in between the two decks? Or is it mostly just the same?
His is a lot more aggro. Mine is more top end control.
Gotcha.
Because he doesn't have Ultimate Horror or Lord of the Void or any of the wizards or land surveyors. He doesn't have any extra card draw, just the sorcerer.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I don't think he runs Hounds of Ondaros either,
Gotcha.
or the Phantasmal Shades. So it's more, it's Headless Haunts, Gyre Hippogriffs for the charge.
Right.
I can't remember exactly. Nimbus Gens, because he just wants to stack up his hand with Sorcerer and then dump it onto your face to Death Store you in one turn.
Gotcha. So,
But yeah.
let's see here. Let's go over to the minions. So, Grim Reaper, just trying to get rid of the pesky minions out of the deck.
Yeah, getting rid of Courtesan Kobolds, Colicky Dragonettes, Mountain Giantesses, Bosk Trolls, whatever. Anything
Gotcha.
that people typically run 3 or more of.
So, I don't see Grapple Shot on the list, but I do see Whirling Blades. So, is that kind of the combo? Instead of Grapple Shot, it's Grim Reaper, Whirling Blades?
Yeah, I was wanting to put Grapple Shot in here, but it's kind of a struggle to find space for it.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't fit with the Ghost Ship combo because you can't Grapple Shot from the Void.
Okay. So you can't.
Projectile. Yeah,
Gotcha.
projectiles
Right.
can't
Yeah. So it's not
go
in the
across
same.
regions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Void's considered a region. Yeah.
So yeah, so I put in Whirling Blades. I actually got a recommendation for that in West Virginia from someone who was there. I didn't.
Gotcha.
I just completely overlooked Whirling Blades. I didn't realize how strong it is, but that card's insane.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, if you can Whirling Blades of Grim Reaper, hit 2 or 3 minions with that, you're getting rid of like a quarter of your opponent's deck, which is just insane. So,
Have you ever pulled it off?
I pulled it off on 2 minions. I've never hit more than 2. Usually what I end up doing with Grim Reaper is I drop an Evil Presence and I just attack into something with it.
Gotcha. Use the charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And then Island Princess, I'm assuming going to fetch one of the... I'm assuming Kythera Mechanism more than the other ones, right? Because you have a decent amount of like getting sights and things with the Land Surveyor.
Yeah. It depends on what's in my hand at the moment. Usually it's Philosopher's Stone first. And then if I have some haunts or something in my hand, I'll go for the mechanism. Otherwise, I'll go for one of the cores just to get that extra ramp.
Gotcha.
Because I can double play it with Death Speaker. So,
Gotcha.
Getting 2 of any of those 5 is really strong.
Nice. And then Land Surveyor, get the sight, so you don't have to draw a sight, which is like the worst thing to do in Sorcery.
Yeah, and you get to double play them with Death Speaker.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I added Death Speaker into the deck, or I changed my avatar to Death Speaker. It's because of Land Surveyor.
Yeah, I was playing your deck over the actually yesterday on Friday just to kind of prep for the interview, just to see how it felt.
Gotcha.
I will say I did take out the Ruby core in the Pact because I was just like, I don't know if I need these, but it was just like,
I get it.
yeah, so it was, I think I put in one more Earthquake, and I think what else did I do? I don't remember. I think it was something. I think it was maybe I went one more Apprentice Wizard,
Gotcha.
but yeah,
Yeah. The Pact with the Devil is kind of like a flex spot. I'm not
right,
that's one area where I'm not 100% certain on, but yeah,
right.
I wouldn't blame you for removing that.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the Ruby core just to make it so it's like, hey, if you do play these things, you are going to be like you are going to get punished by playing them, especially the Vile Imps. Being
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I'll pull that out to deal with your random thing that you just pulled.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're Death Store with Death Speaker, and you can just be like,
Yeah.
yep, I'm going to pull that real quick to pop your dude.
Yeah, and one nice thing is like violent kills violence. So
Right.
you can, as long as there's a violent in their discard, you have an answer to any violence they play. So you can just chain them off of each other.
Right. Let's see here. Headless Hunt. So Kythera mechanism, be able to teleport him wherever you want, whenever you want.
It makes it insanely strong. Yeah.
How is it when you don't have Kythera mechanism? Does it still feel good, or is it obviously it's worse? But is it still hit most of the time, or no?
I feel like it does. Early game, usually you miss, but as you get into the later games, when you have 6 or 7 sites down,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like a 60 to 75% chance that it usually lands somewhere decent, at least to where you can get damage out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it. I think it's good enough when you don't have Kythera mechanism to play it, because when you do have Kythera mechanism, it's
It's too
infinite
good.
movement every turn. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, but yeah, like I feel like a board state you see often is the wall of sites on each player side. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, you literally have a 75% chance to land somewhere
Right.
where you can deal damage, because all 3 of the top rows you can deal damage from. So
Yeah, I call it the classic
it
T
depends.
pose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the T-pose.
Yeah. And
So
then
I think it's
Phantasmal.
good.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I think it's worth playing because of that.
Gotcha. So Phantasmal Shade, 2 threshold, 3 drop, 4 power. When Phantasmal Shade is struck, destroy it. Why is this an include? Is it just because
It's
spirit?
it's a spirit. It's a 3 cost 4 power, which is 4 power is a really good threshold because it can't die
Mm-hmm.
to fire bolts or lightning bolt.
Gotcha.
It kills most other uh, minions. It does die to things like Apprentice Wizard, which sucks, but I think it's a nice thing to just get a body on the board, um, and just threaten some damage, make them have to deal with it. It just puts pressure on your opponent.
So is this more considered like this is good, and if my opponent uses removal on it, I feel happy?
Yeah, because usually they're spending at least 1 card to get rid of it, which is
Right.
that's it's doing its job. It gets rid of something. If it's in my discard, I can potentially bring it back with Ghost Ships. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I was running 3, but I dropped it down to 2 to add that extra evil presence. So
Gotcha.
it's definitely not the strongest card in the deck. Probably one of the weakest, to be honest. But I think it does a good job of what it needs to do.
I was so when I was playing on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised how well it did, considering I was like, someone's just gonna strike this thing. It's gonna be like someone's gonna hit it with 1 power. And the thing
Yeah,
stayed around for like 3 or 4 turns. And they were
yeah,
like, this thing is so annoying. I'm like, you just have to strike it. Like it
yeah.
doesn't
No,
like and they're like, yeah, but I just can't get over there. Like I had played it far away from
yeah,
everyone else, and I just kind of kept on poking him on this one site,
exactly.
trying to
Yeah,
get him.
yeah. That's the thing. Like if it doesn't get taken care of right away, you're dealing 4 damage a turn with it, which is that's 20% of your opponent's health. So yeah, if they don't deal with it right away, it does a lot of damage. If they deal with
Yeah.
it right away, you use their turn to get rid of that card. So
Yeah, I think you got me sold on it. Let's do Hounds of Honduras. So like it's insanely hard to get rid of. You can't submerge it. You can't bury it. You can't drown it. You can't
yeah,
earthquake it. You can't Wrath of the Sea it. You can't do anything to get rid of it
yeah,
in that way. And then for it to be 4, again, you can't lightning bolt it. Can't firebolt it. So
yeah,
it's a menace.
yeah. It's just such a value card. 5 cost for 4 power with every keyword essentially,
Yeah,
and your nearby enemies lose stealth, so it can't be infiltrated. Nothing around it can be infiltrated.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just too good of a value card to put in, and it has Void Walk, so it's resummoned by the Ultimate Horror.
right,
Yeah, the only way people tend to get rid of it is Disintegrate if they run that, and
right.
then otherwise they're putting 2 cards into it, so you're doing a 1-for-2 trade, which is always a good thing.
It's always good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we already touched on Ghost Ship. It's I can't believe this thing is the 6 for 5. All right, that's an insane ability, and the threshold is the crazy part.
yeah, only 1 threshold is pretty crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I I guess because it's like one of the only water spirits, they want you to be able to splash it into a spirit deck. The only
Hmm.
other one that I can think of off the top of my head is Mother Nature. So I don't know. I could see it being 2 threshold, and it would still be.
Right.
I would still run it, but
Yeah.
yeah, being only 1 makes it really easy to get it out.
Hmm. Grandmaster Wizard, draw 3 cards, sacrifices the Pact with the Devil.
Yeah,
Good
and then
play.
just draw 3 more cards with your Death Speaker ability.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know many Death Speaker decks that don't run at least 1 or 2 Grandmaster Wizards just
yeah,
because we're not Sorcerer and we can't just draw an extra card every turn, so we need to find a way to get them somehow, right?
yeah, exactly.
And then Nimbus Djinn is good because you have the Grandmaster Wizard and the Pact with the
Yeah,
Devil, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the main reason I put Pact with the Devil in. I was initially running Browse,
Okay,
but putting 6 cards at the bottom of your deck feels bad sometimes.
gotcha.
Because with this deck, I feel like every single card is something you want. Like everything has some sort of value to it. So putting 6 at the bottom, just I don't like doing that. So I figured drawing 3 with Pact of the Devil is better because if you don't hit exactly what you want, you could potentially pitch it to Nimbus Djinn. So
Gotcha. Drawing cards is better than putting cards at the bottom, basically.
yeah, exactly.
And then Ultimate Horror, kind of talked about this already, but Airborne, Voidwalk, Genesis summon each other dead Voidwalk minion to a nearby site or void
Mhm.
is really good.
Yeah,
Especially since you get to, choose nearby where it is summoned. So
yeah,
you can kind of build to where you need to defend or attack.
yeah. You can just build a wall of dudes if you want. Like if you have 3 guys, you can easily just put them in 3 sites in front of your avatar if you need to, or
Yeah.
on them or whatever. Or if you're using it offensively, just stack them all in your opponent's head.
Right. Yeah. And then Lord of the Void, just to slow down your opponent with the mana.
Yeah, that is a game-winning card. Honestly, I overlooked it when I was first making the deck. Thought it was too expensive. 0 power was kind of, it doesn't do anything. But after playing with it, you can keep it safe so easily because since it's an adjacent site, you can stay in the void, banish a site, and then they are 2 sites away from being able to do anything to him if they don't have any void walk. So you can
Yeah.
always keep him safe and just keep removing their sites. They have to spend their turn draw on a site and their avatar action to play that site in order to undo what this card did every turn.
Jeez.
So yeah, I've only lost 1 game when I've gotten this thing out, and that was that final game in Florida.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
yeah,
So I played a game and it was it was ridiculous. Like I'd play a lot of games just like with friends online for like TTS and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I was playing against Rudosaurus, and he was trying out a guy's Pathfinder deck, and I was playing Battle Mage, and he pulled out a Lord of the Void. And I didn't realize the Lord of the Void said end of turn, not beginning of turn. So
Yeah.
it's like he summons him, and then he immediately starts banishing my sides. I was like, oh gosh, and I had like
Yeah.
only 4 out
That
as Battle Mage.
yeah, that
So
thing is insanely oppressive.
the conversation came up where I had no sites left, and so I was like, so how do I play a site if I'm on my opponent's site? Because
Yeah,
the
exactly.
avatars can't enter the void.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we had a bunch of people that were in there, and so they like were like, basically you play as close to your avatar as possible is what the rule
Is that how it works?
Yeah, and I was
I
like,
wasn't
okay, that's good to know. I don't know if I ever want to be in the position where I have to do that ever again, but it's
Yeah.
good to know if it's there.
I've never seen that happen, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
know what
it
the
was
answer to
crazy.
that was either. I would just assume you can't play a site. But
Yeah, that's what I
guess
thought too. I was like, crud, am I done?
I guess it's a good thing that they have a rule for that, just in case.
Yeah. So lightning bolt just to get rid of those 3 power threats.
Just
To
3
finish the
damage.
game.
Yeah, and exactly, to finish the game. Kythera mechanism, you choose where it goes. Yeah,
Right.
it's just good removal.
Yeah, and then bury, more good removal, and then
Yep.
pact for the getting more cards.
Yeah.
And then 1 earthquake and 2 whirling blades.
Yeah.
Why the 1 earthquake? Is it just because it's so good that you need one, or like why not switch it out for like a whirling blades or another lightning bolt or a bury?
I mean, it's not a bad idea for another like whirling blades or something, but not only does it, is it AoE removal, but it also lets you rearrange sites, which I think is a very underestimated power of that card. People usually look at it just for the minion removal, but honestly, half the time I use it to kill maybe 1 minion, bury my opponent's artifacts, and then move their sites around to where I can start hitting them with my Nimbus Djinn or whatever I need to hit them with. So
Gotcha.
I think it's just too good of a card to not have one of if you're playing any Earth.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can see wanting to run 2 of them, but I wouldn't want to drop any other card for it, I don't think.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to add too many magic spells, because you don't want just early game, you don't want 3 magic spells in your hand, because then you're not doing anything.
And then whirling blades.
Yeah. That is that is an unsung hero of this deck. It's insane. I can't believe I overlooked this card.
So you didn't have it in the West Virginia qualifier?
I added it right before. I added it the night before. My brother and I drove to West Virginia, stayed in a hotel. We went to the shop the night before, met the guy who recommended this, played a game against him, and he was like, hey, you should do whirling blades in your deck. I was like, oh, I haven't looked at that card. I'm not sure what that does. Looked at it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I absolutely should. This is insane. Yeah. Went back to my hotel room, put 2 of them into my deck, and then came back. And yeah, it was... Actually, I only had 1 at the time. I only put 1 in my deck. I was running 2 Chaos Twisters. And I switched those out for whirling blades.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that just... It's insane being able to take 2 steps and attacking everything along the way, essentially. With, if one of those 2 steps is on your opponent's avatar, you're doing double damage to their avatar, essentially, because you move onto them and then attack them. Yeah. And then with the ghost ship, if you just moved into the void the turn before, or whenever, it doesn't really matter. So you summon that spirit, you can use whirling blades to go back into the void and then back onto a site, summoning another spirit and hitting anything along that path.
That's nice.
It's very nice. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
because usually that's.
I didn't think of the whirling blades thing with the ghost ship. It's a good power minion, so you could do it well too. So yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Exactly. And usually with Ghost Ship, you're only ever getting that one spirit, just because you don't want to waste a turn going into the void doing nothing,
Right.
just to come out and get a spirit the next turn. So this allows you to get multiple spirits with one Ghost Ship.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And then for sites, are there any here that are kind of unsung heroes or kind of key sites that you're looking for opening hand, or you're hoping to kind of draw every time or something like that?
Opening hand, I always want to see Cloud City.
Cloud City.
If I have Cloud City in my opening hand, I know it's going to be a decent game. Because with Cloud City, you can easily just block off your opponent's sites, and just start like starving them of mana. And especially if you get to where you can block them off and then drop a Lord of the Void, it's just double oppressive where they can't get anything out. And with Cloud City, you can easily block them off, and then you can go into a corner to where they can't get to you. Like you can usually get the 3 sites around the corner void. If not that, you at least get the 2, and then there's a corner one that's a site. And then they have to have something with airborne to get to you. So it's a good defensive card as well as just oppressive, keeping your opponent from playing more sites.
Gotcha. And then the color out of space, just to make it so you can play anyone's cards?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is essentially a 4-color deck, even though it's almost exclusively air. So getting that just one threshold, it makes you not have to search as much later on. So it's really nice to have that in the opening hand.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then Observatory is another nice one I like to see at the start, just to plan out my next 3 turns worth of draws.
Gotcha. Going back to color out of space, I've had some problems playing it. I'm just like, it'll get cut off, or my opponent will do something to make it so that there's no void around it, and I'm like, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted, but how do you play it so that you can kind of mitigate that possibility?
Usually I try to either play it under my avatar if I don't have Cloud City, or it just usually when you're doing the T board, the T pose, on either of the 4 spots on the arms, I think it's usually good. You can, because usually your opponent doesn't get behind them.
Gotcha.
And you can kind of just make sure you keep that open. And especially if you have Cloud City, like I said, you can block off your opponent, so you can kind of put color out of space wherever you want, and your opponent won't be able to block it off. But I think the power it gives early game is worth that potential losing mana in the later game.
Right.
Because usually you won't lose it until like 6 or 7 turns in, if at all.
Quagmire was an interesting one in my opinion. It is good. I understand why, but like it could have been on like other Earth sites. So why Quagmire?
Quagmire is, when you said unsung hero sites, that's the first one that came to mind, was Quagmire.
Gotcha.
Because you can just block off a whole section of the board from being attacked. It's a very defensive card, which that's kind of the goal of the deck, is early game, just be defensive, make sure your opponent can't get too much damage in. And then late game, you just overwhelm them with power after power value cards. So Quagmire is really good at just holding off your opponent. I was initially running a Holy Ground instead of the 3rd Quagmire, but
Gotcha.
that has too many conditions. You have to play it near your avatar. It's 3 health, where with Quagmire, if you're blocking 1 attack, it's usually going to be blocking 3 damage. So it's kind of the same thing. But
Gotcha.
you could potentially block way more than 3. And then as for like the other Earth sites you could play, like there's Pillar of Zyros, but that kind of counters my deck, so I don't want to play that.
Right.
Gnome Hollows, again, most of my cards are 4 power or higher, so I wouldn't be able to enter my own site. And then the others, they just didn't seem too great to me. I like the defensiveness of Quagmire.
Gotcha. I like it. When I played it, I was also kind of like, oh, this is better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's very strong.
So, after going over all of this, and you've played with this deck probably hundreds of times now, tweaking it and stuff. Are there any
Mhm.
cards that you're kind of like with Arthurian Legends on the horizon?
Mhm.
Well, somewhat on the horizon, 6 months out, but
Yeah.
still. Is there anything you're hoping for, or is there any cards that you're kind of currently looking at with beta as your test ground? What cards are you kind of like, maybe this, maybe that, or is it kind of like this is what it is until maybe something comes out in Arthurian Legends? And if so, what are those cards that you're hoping you might see mechanics wise?
Um, I think Phantasmal Shade is one of those ones where I'm like, I could probably drop this for something. Hopefully, they print something better that I could put in here.
Gotcha.
Um, I don't really know what to expect from Arthurian Legends, so it's kind of hard for me to tell. If they add some sort of new Genesis like card draw or something, I could see Apprentice Wizard being dropped for that.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm sure I have a feeling they might do some sort of spirit that draws a card.
Gotcha.
Um, so that would be amazing because you can play that multiple times with Ghost Ship.
Right.
But like I said, it's hard to tell what we'll see. So it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
know what I would change. But yeah, definitely, Phantasmal Shade is at the top of my list of cards that would go. Honestly,
Gotcha.
the rest I'd
And
find a hard time switching out.
Gotcha. And there's nothing else you're kind of looking at when it comes to beta, or kind of like, maybe this, maybe that, or you're just kind of like, nah, this feels good. I like it. We'll keep it.
Yeah, I think yeah, it feels. I think it feels good where it is. I did like your suggestion with switching Pact with the Devil with Earthquake. Um, I though I do, I don't know. Some like I said, having multiple spells in your hand that don't really do anything to if the board state isn't
Right.
what you want it to be, that can be troublesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I definitely see doing that, just having that extra removal and kind of sight control. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with where the deck is. I think it's about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, dude, you should be proud of it. I played it and it was fun.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it. I was like, dang, I've been playing this Earth Fire thing, and this is seeming a lot more fun than the Earth Fire right now.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of compliments on it lately. It's nice to know that I created something that is not only good but people enjoy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's cool.
I got so one of the reasons I got into the game to begin with was I was a huge fan of Frank Frazetta's art. I have like a
Hmm.
bunch of his stuff up at in my house around the house.
Hmm.
And I was like, I was like at a high. I was like, oh, great! I get all the Frank Frazetta stuff. I mean, this will be great. And so I was like, I bought a couple beta packs, not realizing it was only an alpha. And so I was
Hmm.
like, what's this Vile Imp from? This is a cool,
Yeah,
it's all right, but I was like, where's the Frank Frazetta one? And then it was kind of like, oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
only an alpha. And I was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
They were like, but there's
yeah.
this box topper, and I was like, okay. And so when I saw the topper with Headless on it, I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I need to find a way to put this in a deck because this is just too good. And
There you go.
so I was like, I like the ability. And then when I read Kythera Mechanism, I was like, there's something here. This is really cool. And so I was tweaking around with like maybe something similar to what you were doing originally, where it
Hmm.
was like, let me switch this over. So we're kind of talking. So when I was kind of thinking about doing, I was playing around with like not spirits, but like Voidwalk deck. I was like,
Yeah.
Voidwalk seems really good, like in the way of like you can like be in an area that your opponent can't deal with unless they have the same thing as you, which
Yeah,
seems very powerful. And just being able to just kind of, usually the line goes straight up the middle. So it's like, okay, I can play on this side or this side and then kind of attack from either way. And you
hmm
can't kind of determine where I'm going to be there. And so I was kind of playing around with that with the Headless Haunt and a bunch of other like Phase Assassin, Spectral Stalker, stuff like that. And I was like, I just can't figure it out. I was like, I can't get consistent results with this or whatever. I was like, the skirmishy kind of tactics I want to do is not working out as well as I wanted to. And then I watched your West Virginia qualifier. I was like, dang, this seems like fun. So I played a little bit of it, and then I went back to Earthfire, and then I played your deck when you got second at the Florida qualifier, and I was like, this guy's got a good deck. I got to talk to him, just kind of figure out what's going on here. With the main interview out of the way, I would like to just kind of shoot a couple quick questions at you and kind of
For sure.
Get some ideas from you. So with that being said, what is your favorite artist in Sorcery currently?
Currently it's Juicy Pilkas, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure, but he does a lot of the spirit cards actually. So he does Headless Haunt, he does Ghost Ship, he does.
Yeah, he's got the like very significant lines in his work.
Yeah, it looks kind of neon-y usually.
Yeah.
Which looks really good in foil, which is kind of the reason I
like
it so much. Yeah, those I think I have my deck around here somewhere. I could potentially show you it, but the foil Headless Haunts look really nice. I do have the box topper ones, but I like the foil of the original so much that I can't run those ones. He
did Battle Mage too, right?
Yes, yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure. He did do.
Here, let me pull it up. I still got.
He did Enchantress as well, I think.
Let me pull up here.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up as well.
Let's see here.
Did he do Enchantress? I think he did. Yeah, he did Enchantress.
He did, yeah. What was the name again? It was
Battle Mage. Jussi Pilkas. Yeah, he did Battle Mage as well. Yeah. It has very like ethereal, neon-y, like vibrant colors while still being like kind of dark. He's probably my favorite artist. Oh yeah, Rolling Boulder is a really cool one.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I got some of those Bone Ravel. Yeah. I wish that was a better card because that art is so good.
Yeah. The foil looks amazing too. I love the foil for it. Yeah,
I haven't seen one in person, but I believe it.
Yeah, I wish I had. I should have prepared a little better and had like
some of them around
me. I do have like my champion cards and stuff over here, but I don't have those. And then he's probably my favorite. And then Brian Smith is a really cool one that I like.
Nice.
He does a lot of more like abstract, kind of darker, not very defined lines. It's kind of opposite to Juicy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I really like both of those.
So I actually just got some signed cards back from Brian Smith. So you should reach out, dude, and he'll probably get you some cards.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I shipped some out a week ago or so.
I can't remember exactly who it is, but my brother and I are going to the Courtesan Cup in Baltimore, and they're going to have some artists there. I don't remember exactly who. But
I think it was. Let's see. Actually, here we go. Drew Tucker, Jeff Menges, Tony Sudlow, and Alan Pollock is what I have on the sticky note.
Gotcha.
I think he's got. I think there's one more. I think True Parrish was added to that.
Oh, that'd be cool. But Drew Tucker has some cool art as well. But Jeff Menges, my brother and I won the foil Alpha Pact with the Devil.
Oh, dude! There we go.
So we're probably gonna get that signed by him when we're there.
Nice. You gonna do it on the front or the back?
We're thinking on the front on the text box, but we're not positive yet. But
there you go.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Top 3 card mechanics or art in the game. Let's do top 3 card mechanics, and then we'll do top 3 art.
Ooh, that's a hard one to think of. I mean, Ghost Ship is a favorite.
I would assume that would be.
It's really cool. This is where my knowledge of the whole like card database kind of fails me.
Yeah,
yeah, because I have decent knowledge of them. If someone tells me a name, I can remember what it does. But trying to think of the cards themselves is hard for me at the moment. I do really like Rolling Boulder. That's on the screen right now. And then I mentioned earlier, Sedge Crabs is just cool. I like that funny kind of like way that they put some flavor into cards where they can that one can only move sideways like a crab.
Right.
I don't know if it would be one of my favorite mechanics though. But Ghost Ship, Rolling Boulder, those are cool ones.
So my buddy was like,
I can't really think of another.
My buddy was trying to, he was like, I love Sedge Crabs and I like Delcine Phalanx. And I was like, so what you need to do is just play Sisters of Silence to make it so they can go anywhere.
Yeah, that would be cool. I can't really think of another mechanic. I can tell you one I dislike.
Sure.
Chaos Twister. I hate that card. That is my least favorite card. I don't like the mechanic. I don't think it's that great. It can be very good, but if it fails, it's a terrible card. And I don't like...
Isn't it like...
The outside...
Go ahead.
Like, it's not part of the game. Like, you have to blow on a card. I hate mechanics like that. Like, there was one in Pokemon where it says play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent.
No way.
Why? Yeah, exactly. I don't like that stuff. Don't make me do that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But, yeah. So that would be my least favorite card.
Gotcha. When I pulled my first Chaos Twister, I was like, this is just a meme. Like, this is just a meme card.
That's what I thought at first, and then turns out it's really good.
I didn't realize you could choose your opponents.
Me neither, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, like, let me choose your great old one and then just blow it off the table here or something like that.
Well, if it blows off the table, it fails. But yeah, if it hits anything on the board, it kills it. So, that's what makes it so strong. Is it's a removal for anything that can potentially deal more damage. Right. So, sadly, it's a very good card, but I don't like it.
And then, what's your favorite 3 arts? If you can think of some real quick.
I really like Headless Haunt.
Yeah,
I think that's a really cool art. I mean, I sound really biased because I play the Spirits deck,
right?
But it's kind of coincidentally some of my favorite arts. Ultimate Horror, I really like. I think that's Brian Smith. I could be wrong about that.
So.
No,
I think it's
not. I think it was
I think it's Ian something.
Is it? I can't remember.
Ian Miller.
Okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I really like that art. It's creepy.
It's fantastic.
It's really weird.
Yeah, he did Free City as well, and I think a couple others. But
yeah. Ultimate Horror, Headless Haunt, and then honestly, I really like Infiltrate. I think that's a really good art. It's really like elegant and just nice looking. Whirling Blades is another good one. It's hard for me to pick my top 3, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love Whirling Blades as well. I didn't get those signed because I was waiting for my alpha versions to come in so I could get those ones signed. And I'll definitely be giving those to Brian Smith to get signed soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see if I think I have one more question, but I am not certain. Give me 1 second. Too many tabs, too many things. Let's see here. No, I think that's it. Thanks for coming on, dude. Is there anything else that you would like to say? I think you have a YouTube channel, right? You have like the one video.
Yeah. We're slacking a little bit right now. We were actually talking yesterday about like video ideas and what we should record.
Nice.
So hopefully we can get something out. My brother does have some booster box opening videos that he just needs to edit. But yeah, it's Brothers of the Realm.
Brothers of the Realm. Okay.
Yeah, so it's me and my brother. We're gonna do sorcery stuff. Talk about meta, deck techs, do some probably box openings or pack openings, and throw in some games here and there.
Nice.
We're not entirely sure if there will be like a specific focus, but just all things sorcery, really.
Yeah.
So,
nice, dude. Well, thanks for coming on, and
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having
I'm
me.
looking forward to your courtesan cup win.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That courtesan Thias would be very nice.
Yeah, dude, it seems like a very nice card.
Yeah.
But awesome.
All right.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.